Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Warrant Officer Rod Wallace. We warmly welcome Group Captain Matt Cottrell, retired, Secretary of the ACT Division of the Air Force Association. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. If you're able, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flying Officer William Andrew McNamee. William McNamee was born on the 9th of December 1923 in Toowoomba, Queensland, to William and Elizabeth McNamee. Growing up, he had a brother, Ralph. Their father was a labourer who served in the 11th Light Horse Regiment in the First World War. McNamee was working as a clerk in the Treasury building when he enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force on the 20th of June 1942, aged 18. He trained as a pilot and in early May 1942 received his flying badge and was commissioned as a pilot officer. On the 24th of May 1943, McNamee embarked for overseas service from Sydney, arriving in the UK in July. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, he was one of almost 27,500 RAF pilots, navigators, bomb owners, wireless operators, air gunners, and flight engineers who throughout the course of the war joined British and Commonwealth squadrons based in Britain. Further specialist training followed in England, and in November, McNamee was promoted to flying officer. He attended various flying courses, and on the 26th of November 1944 was posted to number 467 Squadron, Royal Australian Air Force. As part of Bomber Command, the squadron flew the floor-engined Avro Lancaster heavy bomber. On the night of the 7th of January 1945, Bomber Command launched a major raid of Munich. McNamee was the pilot of Lancaster Papa Oscar Lima, which took off just after 5 p.m. The raid was the 7th and last such raid on the city, and was considered a success, destroying many key targets. Number 467 Squadron committed 11 Lancasters to the mission, but one failed to return. At 4:15 a.m. on the 8th of January, the crew of Lancaster Papa Oscar Lima was on its way home. They'd been flying for 10 hours when something appeared to go wrong. The aircraft descended towards the English coast and crashed near the village of Eye in Suffolk. No bodies were found on board, and it is thought likely that the crew bailed out somewhere in the North Sea. Their remains were never recovered. Flying Officer William McNamee, with fellow Australians, Flight Sergeants John Glowry, Maxwell Bruckner, Lawrence Sorwick, Stefan Servos, Herbert Williams, and along with British Sergeant Henry Kirsch, were all presumed killed. They have no known graves, and they are commemorated on the Runnymede Memorial to the Missing in Surrey, which honours all Commonwealth airmen whose bodies were never found. William McNamee was 21 years old. He was dearly missed by his family, who placed in memoriam notices in the newspapers for years after his death. One inserted by his parents and Ralph read, "In our heart, your memory lingers, but we know it is vain to weep. Tears of love will never wake you from your peaceful, happy sleep. Though there's many miles between us and the distance be a lot, the flowers that grow between us are the sweet forget-me-nots." In 1982, a friend of McNamee's tried to find out more about the circumstances surrounding his death. In a letter to the Department of Defence, he noted, "He was so popular and admired by us, his friends, we still miss him." William's father enlisted for a second time and served in the Second World War with a volunteer defence corps. Flying Officer William McNamee's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flying Officer William McNamee, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that left are old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.